So, do we really believe that artificial intelligence, AI, or training apps are the future for the longevity and health of an endurance athlete? So, whether you love to run, ride, multi-sport train, using training apps on your phone, kind of leaning into the efficiency and economy of using an artificial intelligence, is that really going to safeguard you long term? Is it going to really keep you doing what you want to keep doing for the rest of your life? And I really want to discuss this, guys, because this is the future. Whether we are kind of accepting of it or not, we are moving into a time now where we are all already using it more often than we realize. Probably we're already exposed to it more often than we realize. But in terms of managing your levels of health, making sure that you are as healthy as you can be, you are preventing injury, you're navigating the unknown elements to like performing high levels of training across the week and kind of integrating your training sessions into a busy working lifestyle. Are we in a place where we can truly trust these methods, or are we still in its infancy? Now, I'm going to try and obviously be as kind of relatively kind of for and against. Now, I want to kind of create a bit of an argument here for both sides. But obviously, I'm going to lean more towards the individualized approach, because obviously that's what we do at Strength for Endurance. We're an endurance coaching company. We work specifically with runners, cyclists, triathletes, who are all looking to obviously integrate high training volumes into their current lifestyles. Pretty much everyone we work with are mums, dads, are in relationships, they're working professional environments, they commute, they work long hours, but they are looking to have an active lifestyle. So the appeal of using artificial intelligence, using training apps, because a lot of them are time poor, money isn't abundant, though there's immediate kind of a draw, in terms of a shiny object, there's always going to be a draw to these types of training apps. But what I really want to talk about, guys, is going beneath the surface of these apps and the way these kind of programs are now being created, and deep diving into actually the complexity of working with endurance athletes of any age, of any sex, and any sport. Because we're working with human beings, and no matter what algorithms, no matter how much data is collected, there is a complexity to all of us that we cannot just take on face value. There's a huge benefits to actually getting to know the individual that you're working with. With everyone that we work with at Strength for Endurance, we make an incredible amount of quantitative and qualitative notes. We're making them all the time. We work as a team here at Strength for Endurance, because men and women. We've got physios, running coaches, triathlon coaches, we've got doctors, we've got our pelvic health physios. We're all working as a team here but we're all collecting notes. We're all kind of coming together every week and talking about everyone that we're working with, and we're kind of always collecting data. But we're doing this from obviously a humanistic kind of perspective. But there's so much power in that. And although AI can obviously quantify and collect probably a hell of a lot more information, it's still going to be only metric based. Is it going to be deep diving into some of those harder questions that maybe aren't being answered? But going back to the benefits of AI training apps, like, they are going to be able to give the masses a lot more opportunity to understand what their training potentially could look like. It's going to give an opportunity for a lot more people to understand what the basic framework can look like for a running program, for a triathlon program, for what a strength conditioning program looks like. That is a massive benefit. The price point using a training app is going to be the lowest it potentially could be to work from a coaching program. It's going to be a subscription model. It's going to be giving you the data that you think you need, which is going to be based upon your power output, the time on your feet. It's going to be giving you the durations. It's going to be giving you the distances. It's going to be giving you all the things that we all hunger for. But what information isn't it giving you? What hard conversation isn't it going to be? What are the hard conversations that these apps are never going to be asking you? Does it truly understand your training history? Does it truly understand your injury history? Does it understand your relationship with nutrition? Does it understand your relationship with recovery? A lot of these apps are based upon what you input into them. It's the experience that it has on you, or it's basing a lot of its programming on you. It's going to be, again, quantitative. It's not going to be qualitative. They're not going to be asking you questions around like your what sports have you played growing up? What impact have those sports had on your physiology, on your psychology? There is a difference between someone who's played team sports growing up versus someone who has been a dancer or a gymnast growing up. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, or individuals that have played racket sports growing up, or sports where you are playing very dominantly one side. There, physically, you're going to see there's going to be significant strengths through one side more so than another. What is that going to look like when we start to put high volumes of training into that body? But what I'm trying to get at here, guys, is that as you deep dive into the humans that yourself, the humans that you're working with, there's always going to be limitations currently to what AI can do for us. I think a lot of people aren't even aware of this type of conversation, and this is why it's important for us to talk about, because this is the sort of thing that we talk about. We are always thinking about in the background. When we take anyone on board at strength for endurance, we are kind of making notes. Right? Who have they been in the past? What sort of training lifestyle have they led up until this point? Are they injury free right now, or are they harbouring some form of some niggles, injuries? What areas of strength and weakness do they have? You may be kind of looking to integrate. These apps now have a way of integrating strength and conditioning into your run programming, triathlon programming. Fantastic. That is, on a base level, exactly what we've been promoting for 10 years plus now. You've got to be doing some form of strength training along endurance performance. Great. What is that based on? Are you now just doing back squats, deadlifts, single leg squats, etc., generically approaching your strength training? Are there clear areas of weakness that you simply aren't even aware of, or you've collected because of previous injury? Most likely. If you're coming into the sport after a long period of time off, if you're coming into this new running program having had injuries in the past, are they fully rehabbed? What is that app? What is that algorithm going to be doing to analyze that, to kind of work out what you need to be working on? Because there is that level of specificity required when it comes, if you want to see the results of your strength and conditioning work. Otherwise, what happens is it's just like you're running or you're riding. You're just going to start to compound those imbalances by putting heavier loads through your body. Because a squat is good for you, or a deadlift is good for you, and working to those heavier loads has been proven to see benefits. You can also, like anything, you can unravel yourself very quickly. If you have clear imbalances, you're significantly weaker one side over another, and you're not being called out upon that, then these are going to be areas that we are going to become bigger issues down the line. Looking at the injury history, looking at your health history, we are all at different phases of our life. When you're working from an app, when you're inputting how many runs a week you're doing, how much volume and what your goals are you also putting in? What else are you putting in there in terms of health? Are you kind of putting in what your health history has been up until this point? Have you had to struggle with? Have you had operations in the past? Are you on particular types of medication? There is a level of consideration that we have to have. We have got people who have gone through breast cancer. We've gone through hip replacements. We've got people who've had serious surgical interventions that hernia operations. There's an abundance of reasons as to why people are potentially on medication. People are on long-term rehab programs that potentially have kind of drifted off. But when you're coming onto any type of endurance program that is going to be asking high volumes of training of you, and you're asking that program to then be set at 4 sessions a week, 5 sessions a week, 6 sessions a week, 6 days a week, multiple sessions included in that, you can understand there's a complexity there if you're just expecting your body to tolerate that type of work. So for us, in terms of understanding your blood work, are you perimenopausal? Have you been through the menopause? As a man, what are your levels of testosterone right now? Your iron levels, your vitamin D levels, these baseline numbers need to be understood just from a basic level of health. Because again, if we are just taking technology on face value and, it's giving me a program, it's managing my metrics, it's giving me good feedback on a week-to-week basis, that's all surface level noise. That's the shiny stuff. The real understanding is actually, how are you operating underneath that? What is happening underneath your skin? Are you operating from a place of health? Are you relatively healthy right now? Or are you not being held accountable to some of those other key areas of what a comprehensive endurance coaching program, strength and conditioning program should be giving you or calling you out upon? There is a psychological element to this conversation, which again is humongous. To even go down this road, we are navigating people's relationship with exercise, with endurance performance. Without a shadow of a doubt, running, riding, swimming, myself included, there is an addictive quality to this lifestyle. To be able to run as much as you want, ride as much as you want, swim as much as you want, especially in the high stress environments of work. Are we just feeding that addictive personality, or that addictive quality of us? Yes, of course we are, because we can sit there and go, I want to train 6 days a week. I'm training for X marathon, X ultra marathon, whatever it is. That then is then going to give you what you are looking for, but it's not going to give you what you need. What potentially a lot of people need, myself included, is I need to be held accountable. I need to be asked those hard questions as to what my levels of fatigue are right now. Am I managing my training around my high stress environment of working and being a father of two and trying to be a good husband alongside that, and managing a lot of emotions and stresses in my life? That requires feedback. That requires conversation. And again, it's this humanistic qualities that I feel will always be lacking. But again, maybe that's what you don't feel that you need this. But I certainly want everyone listening to this and watching this to understand that these are qualities that will allow you to have more of a sustainable relationship with long-term endurance training. And again, whether you love to run, ride, ski, hike, climb, whatever it is, have no doubt you want to do this forever, for as long as possible. I know I do. But to think that just a nice training program is going to do that for you, that is going to give you all the metrics and data. No, we see this in not just in apps, we're seeing it in obviously wearable devices, etc. And I do believe a lot of people are seeing through the BS of it. They're seeing that actually managing their HRV and managing their heart rate and understanding their kind of how much sleep they should be getting, etc. And like, it can be completely and utterly overwhelming, and actually focusing on the wrong aspects. A lot of the time it comes back to the why behind your training. How is that program then being adjusted on a week-to-week basis around your lifestyle, around around getting you focusing on some of those other aspects of your training lifestyle that potentially you are dropping the ball in or have never really had much confidence in. Your ability to fuel appropriately, to make sure you have a good handle on what your hormonal health looks like right now, your blood health looks like. Really identifying that you have some significant physical weaknesses right now that are going to hold you back down the line at some point, or they're going to manifest in some significant long-term overtraining injuries. But these are the things, guys, the complexity of this conversation that needs to be discussed more and more and more openly as we move down this kind of road of, tri-dot training and working with, like typing in programs into asking ChatGPT to create a program for us, etc. There are so many variations of this now, but there is a complexity. We work with people who are navigating life. They've had significant injuries in the past. They've had significant health scares or concerns. They've had significant operations. They're going through phases of their life where their hormonal health is being impacted. They are of a certain age where you're seeing a natural downregulation of hormones. And because of our lifestyles that we're leading, our blood health markers, our nutritional kind of needs need to be met. We need to understand these. This is the complexity that is simply not being seen within AI training currently, within the programs, these algorithms that we're working with. And maybe you don't need that. Maybe you think you don't need that, and that's fine. But these types of kind of conversations need to be had and regularly had, because this is how we think and work at SFE. We very much are looking to give everyone what they want and get them to the podiums and get them kind of running ultras and running the distances, or cycling and riding and performing at the distances and intensities they want to. But we're never going to let them do that without holding them accountable to all these other health variables. So I'm understanding how to make this a sustainable approach. But it's this humanistic coaching element that comes from us having regular conversations, words being spoken, written, and then from off the back of that, we can then review, evaluate, and pivot accordingly in those different areas of your training, and not just in the metrics of what you're doing. All right, so guys, I'm going to leave it there. As always, so much we can unpack here. I would love to go into kind of individual areas of this. Any questions around any of this, let me know.